we are told the stock market is going up, unemployment rates are going down, but our national debt is growing and medium income levels have remained stagnant since the mid 1970s, right? So, how does this managerial philosophy of shape shifting and nonlinearity manifest itself practically in economic policies, right? Well, the answer to that question is through quantitative easing. We print money and pump trillions of dollars back into the economy through quantitative easing. We did this once in 2008 and 2009, and we saw it did not help the people it was supposed to. The data shows, like you can go look at this yourself, that about over 90% of that money went into the hands of the wealthiest 5% of global citizens, not just Americans. It was way less than Americans, probably less than 1% of Americans. Now, one could argue that that is the largest transfer of wealth to the rich in all of documented history. You can think about it as socialism for the rich. But then we decided to do it again in 2020 and 2021. We continued to print trillions of dollars. But what's so interesting about quantitative easing is that very few people in the digital landscape anywhere really has studied the origins of quantitative easing. Who came up with these mathematical models, the economic theories that underpin quantitative easing? Now, in one of my books that I own, it describes these origins, and it sums it up really nicely in this chapter. And basically outlines this conversation between President Gorbachev, Mikhail Gorbachev, and this Russian economist. So he says, Mr. President, when Homer returns to write the history of our epic, he will say that the Russian mathematicians swept out of Muscovy in 1991 and presented themselves before the gates of Wall Street bearing the gift of quantitative risk management models, quantitative easing. They were received with joy and set to work, and in 20 years had destroyed the place entirely. It was he who will say, the greatest Trojan horse operation since Troy. So, this is the inventor of quantitative easing describing how the United States economy, utilizing their economic models of quantitative easing, is the greatest Trojan horse operation since